Welcome to Flick Flops, the podcast where we review critically bad movies so you don't have to.
From box office bombs to straight to streaming duds, we take a deep dive into the films that missed the mark.
Each episode, we'll break down a different movie and give you our honest thoughts on what worked, what didn't, and everything in between.
Whether you're a die-hard movie buff or just looking for a good laugh, we've got you covered.
So grab some popcorn and get ready to join us in a journey through the world of critically bad cinema. This is Flick Flops.
Welcome back to Flick Flops, the podcast where we explore movies that were critically panned, but may not necessarily be terrible. We'll wade through the muck to give you the best and worst of these films and determine whether they're truly bad movies or not. This week, we tackle the movie Babylon, a 2022 American epic period black comedy drama filmed, written, and directed by Damien Chazelle. I hope I pronounced that right. And featured an ensemble cast including Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and many others. The picture chronicles the rise and fall of multiple characters during Hollywood's transition from silent to sound films in the late 1920s.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew Parker.
I didn't know anything about this movie going into it. When you suggested it, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
The only thing I knew that you'd kind of given me the heads up on was it was long.
Right.
Long's a bit of an understatement here.
Yeah, I kind of thought maybe we were starting to institute this idea of a tap out.
Yeah.
And I thought this might be the first tap out because it's so long. Like, I don't know who anymore. I don't know who expects somebody to sit 3 hours in a theater. At least at my age. That's at least 2 bathroom runs.
Dude, I can almost barely get through one of our
and
podcasts.
You've got the bladder of an infant, so
exactly. Did your mama tell you everything? Wait, no. That'd be your bull.
Right.
So anyway, let's talk about this real quick. Babylon.
Wait, are we doing numbers? Or are you just talking numbers?
No.
That's right.
I forgot we had that. So numbers wise, the budget for this thing was $78 to $80 million, which I don't know. I guess that's a lot anymore. I don't know when you think in a world of like Avatar, the kind of money they spend, but this was a lot of money. It's so far, according to the numbers I found, it's only grossed $63 million, roughly, and change. So numbers wise, it's I guess technically it's considered a flop.
Yeah,
it's not doing well. Again, like Gary mentioned, big cast. I thought it would have done better, but I don't know who this movie was for. You know?
Yeah, very confusing.
So Rotten Tomatoes has it. The critics have it at 56. The audience has it at 52. I'm going to agree. That's kind of about where I have this. It's I didn't hate the movie. I enjoyed it.
Don't give away your rating yet.
But God, it was just. I think the length. Like I don't know why it needed to be so long.
Yeah. Did you make a lot of notes on this one?
I have just a couple. We can go over mine real quick, or do you have anything you want to do real fast before I?
Yeah, I mean, I just to give a little context. I know I threw that line in there about it being kind of the transition of silent films to talkies.
Yeah,
and quote unquote talkies, and how you've got these are basically silent film stars that are trying to do that transition. I don't know how much this is based on. I know the characters are not based on anybody as far as I know, but I don't know how much of this background is in reality of how it was.
Sure.
So that's the time period. And I really think, although you could probably argue that there's about 5 main characters, I really feel like the story is the story arc of the entire thing is mostly 2. With Brad Pitt being a third, actually, which is what was kind of, to me, I can almost consider him the third main character instead of the first.
Yeah, you had
my opinion. But.
So yeah, you had this guy,
right,
and you had her.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, also I enjoyed a lot was this guy,
the trumpet. Yeah.
I'll say this that I didn't put it in my notes, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned it was. Man, I loved the music of this movie.
Yeah,
just all the stuff just hanging out in the background. I was like, "This is like a little beboppy." I'm like, "Yeah, babe, looks good, sweetie."
There's actually a lot of really good things about this movie.
Yes.
Yeah. But well, let's work through it a little bit. So so you want that's where I wanted to get to. I will say I felt like this I feel like the movie was sort of a mess because it was trying to tell two different things that to me were like two different themes and took way too long to do it. So it was like
Yeah.
it was super long, maybe too many characters that they were kind of pulling in for focus here and there.
Yeah, and you know, when I was talking to Teresa about it, I said the problem is with the movie. While it was really long, and I'm not going to keep hammering that, but it was long. It's over. What was it, 3 hours and like 9 minutes?
Yeah, something
Um,
like that.
I don't know what you would have cut. There were some
Yeah,
scenes I think that ran a little long, but overall that wouldn't have affected the overall length of this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like if you cut out,
kind of. I think if they cut out a couple characters,
like the scene where
it might have made it
in the early stages where this guy goes to get the camera back into town.
referencing the
Yeah, I'm sorry.
is he
I I don't know
Was
his
he
name.
Mexican? He was Mexican, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's
The
Latino to
character
some
was.
degree. I don't know his name, and I
I
feel
don't mean
bad
the
'cause
actor. I mean, obviously he was, but I mean the storyline was he was
yes,
like
he was from
trying
Mexico.
trying to make his way sort of in Hollywood in
Yeah, and I
some
keep pointing
fashion.
to it. So if you're listening on audio, there's a guy I'm pointing to who's one of the main characters of the film, and he's Mexican, I believe, is what they want him to be. Anyway, he's sent into town to go retrieve another camera, and that scene was, I think, a little long.
Yeah.
But again, if you cut that scene down by 2 minutes, I mean, you're not affecting the overall 3 hour length of this movie. It's still going to be it's a long movie.
It's meant to be an epic. You can tell that in its whole setup and
Yeah.
everything. Um,
As I watched it, I didn't feel fidgety, and I didn't feel like I need like I it wasn't like going, all right, move on. I wasn't doing that. But it's like, and you and I have talked off camera before, like the Irishman, a damn long movie.
yeah.
But I didn't feel. I mean, if I was in a theater, this would have really bothered me because I would have had to go to the bathroom at some point in time.
And you can't pause. Everybody, we just all agree to just pause here. Take it in.
Yeah. So, do you want to get into my notes? Your notes?
Go ahead. You go ahead and do yours for. I'll pop
So
in mine here.
the first note that I have, and this is in the beginning. There's an elephant that's being pushed up a hill, or
Right.
drug up a hill, and the elephant gets a little gurgly tummy.
That's one way to put it.
And I didn't need to see what happened. And I don't think it added to the film. So
It was funny.
I mean, I was just kind of like, you see it coming, and I'm like, please don't do this.
Don't go there.
Don't. And they did.
Yeah.
So that one, I'm not going to criticize it. I was just like, I didn't need that.
Yeah.
Put a little scene like I didn't need that. 24 minutes into the film, you would give me a heads up. There's an interesting use of a wine bottle. I won't go any deeper on that, so to speak.
No pun intended. Yeah.
But you had sent me a message like, I'm going to just tell you this. Look out for the wine bottle. And I was like, okay.
I laughed out loud at that part.
Well, then I was watching it intently. I was like, oh, I didn't need to see that. I think, hang on a second. I have a picture here. See if I can pull this picture up that might.
Oh no, not a picture of it. You don't have a picture of it, do you?
Oh, I do not. No,
Okay.
I had a picture that I had.
You're just going to
pulled
show
up.
a wine bottle in general. Okay.
Let's see if this one is this. If you can see this picture here when it pops up.
That's the scene. Yeah. Right.
There is a scene of just Caligula type.
Full on debauchery.
Yeah, and anyway, there's a wine bottle involved, and I'm
yeah.
gonna, you that are listening, just use your imagination.
Yeah.
Or if you want, just get to about 24 minutes into the 3 hour film, and
you'll see.
You'll be well aware of what I'm talking about.
I was saying. So speaking of that whole section, my first note was concerning that because I felt exhausted after the first like 20 or so minutes of the movie. With all of that stuff going on in that scene, there's so much.
This scene could have been cut down.
Yeah.
And this probably would have been significant. You probably could have cut this down to maybe a 5-minute scene. Like, we got the picture.
Yeah.
Totally understand what's happening here. You don't need this. And it just went on, like, very gratuitous to me. Like,
Yeah.
there's plenty of, and this scene is not family friendly at all. There's a lot of just
This
debauchery.
movie's not really family
So
friendly.
this scene ran a little long.
Yeah.
In this whole setup, though, in this area too, the other note I have is I enjoyed the cameo by one Flea himself.
Right. Yep.
I was like, hey, that's Flea, and I
have 5 notes on actor/actresses in the film.
Yeah.
And my number 1 is Flea. That I was like, hey, look, Flea's in it.
Yeah. Look at that.
Very and I guess
give
he was
give it
the
away now.
I guess he was the owner of that house. Is that what you got out of that? Was he?
I'm not sure, but I'm going to go with if he's not the owner, he is in charge of this event. That's for sure. This party. This house is this massive mansion out in the middle of nowhere where they have these debaucherous parties. And I mean, it's no holds barred and everything's going off here. And Flea is the one in control of what's happening in this thing. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let me see. What else do I have left? About an hour in, there's a scene where they're in the bathroom. And someone is in there destroying the toilet. Again, I mean, I guess all my notes revolve around poop. But it sounded like somebody had a bad
which
night.
makes it interesting that we're going to see your rating in poop in a little bit.
I know, it's like make me really think maybe I should do something else. But this is a night of someone had White Castle chased with Taco Bell.
Yeah,
and the sound is there. You don't see it, but you hear it. And I felt for the guy. I was like, oh, dude, yeah,
we've all been there.
That's a touch and cloth moment there.
Yeah.
And then I think the last note I have, again, it's on the I guess disgusting side, was about an hour 57 in towards the end of the movie. Well, not the end of the movie, but 2 hours into the movie. There's a vomit scene that kind of goes chain reaction.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what it is. Vomit sometimes throws me off a little bit. I mean, I can handle a lot of things, but excuse me, that one kind of just, bumped me. Oh, and one other cameo I thought was interesting was this.
Yep, I have. That's number 4 on my actor/actress notes.
Because I knew nothing about the film.
Yeah, me neither, and I didn't realize he was in it.
So
and
the camera turns around.
Boy, does he look awful.
I was like, whoa, that's not your mommy and daddy.
You know, he kind of reminds me of is what was the name of that? You'll probably remember this. It's been for ages ago, but the movie with oh gosh, I can't even think of the name right off the top of my head. Anthony, say it. That guy. Yeah, where's my no, no, but wow, that's a deep pool. What was that? What was that? What was
Perkins?
No, Perkins. Hey, come on, man. Hannibal Lecter. What the heck's his name?
Oh, Anthony Hopkins.
Hopkins. Oh my Lord! How can I forget?
How did I go to Anthony Quinn?
See, I'm.
It's not like you and I are up on.
Well, it might have been because of this movie was set in the older times. So
by the way, for those that are listening, not watching, this is a picture of Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. He looks like, to me. Okay, this is where I was going with this.
Go.
Magic. Remember the movie Magic back in like 70s or whatever?
Hold on.
The Wayback Machine just kicked in.
You got to let me put my seatbelt on when you make turns like that, Gary.
That, especially the picture that you're showing right there when he's first in there. I'm like, is he the dummy from?
That is true, dude. That is a great, deep.
That's got to be the dummy from Magic. Anyway, yeah, he's number 4 and I put looking super sick because he.
Yes,
I don't know what he's got in the film.
I'm assuming he's a massive drug addict in this scene.
Yeah.
And this is either because he's piling on the white makeup and just like
yeah. Oh, that was funny.
Maybe I'll just leave that up for a while.
Yeah, go for it.
While you tell your notes.
It's cute.
That's all I have. I mean, all mine were kind of disgusting. Those are the things that really bumped me in the film. Everything else was kind of okay. I mean,
Yeah, I will say. I mean, I was again, going in with the thought of I'm probably not going to make it through this whole movie. I think I even shot you a note that was kind of like, I may be watching both movies that we got coming up
I
in one
know.
night, and I didn't have 4 hours, 5 hours to kill, like, to do it. So
Yeah, I
I
mean,
thought I
I
was
was
going to
up
be out.
till after midnight on this one because I was like, I kept looking at the time. I was like, God, I'm only an hour out. Like, I got another hour
You
in
could
me.
finish it, yeah.
And then I was like,
I Yeah,
I don't know,
it
man. And then I
actually
got
took
down to
me
like,
two
yeah, I got down to like
sittings.
30 minutes. Like, come on, push it through. And
Yeah.
then finally, I'm like, oh, for the love of God, just end.
So here's the weird thing about the movie for me. So the whole first, like, all the way through that party scene that you're talking about, because it seems to take up so much of the beginning.
Yeah,
The whole elephant thing is in
just
preparation
it's
for that.
stretched, man.
It's all of it is going to that whole scene, and it's just insane. Like, there's so many things going on
Well,
in
and the
there.
funny thing, if you remember, the elephant only shows up at the one crucial moment where they need to get somebody out of the party.
Yeah. Yeah, like, what was the point?
That was the whole buildup for the, and so it was almost like they gratuitously wanted to have a poop scene in this opening.
Yeah, yeah.
And while look, I'm a fan of poop, I get it, but geez,
It's the 12-year-old coming out.
it
And
is the Beavis and Butthead.
so but after you get through that scene, which is basically the setup to the two, what I consider the two main characters. You've got the Mexican guy that's trying to get into Hollywood, and then you've got the Margot Robbie's character, who is
Yeah,
that she already believes she's a star. She just got to get her foot in somehow.
yeah,
And they both, through this party, end up managing to get their foot in the door,
right.
essentially. Um, the very next scene then after all of that party is her arriving at the movie set.
Yes.
And that was actually when I got more invested in the movie. It was so well shot. I loved all the different, like, trying to imagine the way films were shot back in that day, and seeing all these different things kind of going on, and the camera kind of going in and around all of it and panning around and
It
seeing
was
all
almost
these
like it was
different.
like one shot.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know that it was, but that's the feel you got. Like he's just
yeah,
moving through the different scenes or the different movie sets and
right.
swinging back around and picking it up where the girl's like action and moving. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah, and I, from what I understand, I just did a tiny bit of research on this before we got on here, is that Emma Stone, I think, was originally supposed to play that part,
oh, okay,
which I I mean, I like Emma Stone, some of the stuff that she's been, but I don't know if that movie would have played as well for me if she was
yeah.
the character.
No, I thought Margot was great in it. Really,
Um,
and I mean, look, the acting we didn't talk of, and maybe we will later, but the acting was great in this movie.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, and I was gonna say, so there was like, that scene really kind of hooked me in. There was a quite a few shots in the movie like that, or scenes in the movie that I really did enjoy.
Yeah,
Um, but that's about half the movie for me.
yeah,
The other half of it was stuff that I'm like, let's just get to the next part. It just wasn't really that interesting to
yeah,
me. There are a lot of good arcs to some of the characters in it, but most of all, it seems sad overall. The whole thing just seems sad.
yeah.
Uh,
There's, I won't give anything too much away, but yeah,
yeah,
there was
I was wondering about spoilers on this one, so I don't know
yeah, I
for.
mean, maybe people still watch it. I don't want, it's getting a bad rap, but you know,
I have in my notes, the movie set scene got me really invested. I thought it was very creatively shot. Um, I put that the movie is, to two themes to me. You've got the whole thing about excess, and
yeah,
how, these Hollywood stars and all these people have all this money, and there's just, nothing is sacred to these people, man. They just do everything, and the debauchery and everything in the beginning, I guess, and the seediness of Hollywood
yeah.
is
Kind of
in
wish
there
I'd have
as
been a
one theme.
star. I mean,
And then you've got the kind of the, I don't know, dichotomy of all these people with all the money. It's really not too much different than today. All these people with too much money that they don't know what to do with. And then you've got the other side of the poor people that are just trying to get through, man, just trying to make a living.
yeah,
And they're just, the rich people completely out of sync with what everyday people are like. There was a
yeah.
lot of that in the movie. Um, anyway, so that's sort of what I got out of it. As far as I wrote down funny moments. We can come back to the actors thing in a minute. I did put the little person in the scene at the beginning on the pogo stick.
I don't think I saw that.
Oh, dude.
What?
Yeah. I put
Like-
a little person on a pogo stick. I mean, make that a pogo dick. I I think it's before the wine bottle scene. But
Jesus.
and
I
then
might have seen it now that I can say it that way.
and then I
Shit,
did
my
think
hair's
that
off.
there's a scene in the movie when they start it's the very first time that Margot Robbie's character is shooting a silent or a talkie film where they're actually adding sound to it.
Oh yeah.
That I mean it's kind of a long scene, but
That
it is funny. I really actually thought that was well done. It just was really good the way
yeah,
the stuff.
I meant to write that down because I thought while the scene I thought was a little long, I did enjoy that scene.
Yeah.
Like how sensitive, and then she's like, "Can you just move the mic?" And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, rewired. Yeah, I don't want to give any of that away too.
Because we don't
too much of that,
realize what it took to mic
yeah, yeah.
a stage at that era. Like now, it's nothing.
Right.
You know.
Well, now we're sitting here. I mean, you look at what we're doing.
Jesus.
That's my notes as far as moments of the movie and the overall kind of thing about it. I'll just for my notes for actor actress stuff, I put Flea in there. Samara Weaving, who is the character that comes in when the bar scene that she's shooting there at the beginning at the movie
Yes.
set.
She's the
And
other actress.
she comes in and I was like, is that Margot Robbie playing a second character in it? Because they look so much alike.
Who is Samara Weaving? I don't know who that. I know.
She's the actress in there that looked a lot like Margot
But
Robbie.
is she anybody?
She's been in some movies.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you off the top of my head. I can't.
No, that's fine.
recall,
I just
but
I saw that name come up in another when I was doing some research. I'm like, should I know this person?
Yeah,
Because I don't.
Yeah, I can't. Man, it just escapes me at the moment.
Of course, I was also I'm a fan of Margot Robbie, so I was kind of focused on staring at her.
My third note is a schooner's not a sailboat because Ethan Suplee makes
Ethan
an appearance.
Suplee, dude, I almost texted you when I saw that. I was like, he'll see that and recognize.
Yeah.
For those that are, hey, speaking, I didn't realize I'm wearing my Kevin
There
Smith
you go.
shirt.
There you go.
My movie shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, always thinking of Kevin Smith. Yeah, Ethan Suplee, dude. He's yeah. I'm happy to see that guy in movies.
Oh yeah. Tobey Maguire looking sick. And there's this comedian that's in there. I didn't know he was an actor. Rory
He's crushing
Scovel.
my head.
I probably did. You probably totally missed that part.
Who was it?
Rory Scovel. He's a comedian. He played the Count. His character was called the Count. He's the one that was kind of serving the drugs up basically on the movie set and all that stuff. Yeah.
Hold on. The scene where he shows up with the money that the guy needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And oh God, when the reveal comes from that, I was like, oh my God.
I know.
What was he thinking?
I know.
And he was like, just go with it.
Yeah.
It's like, go with it.
Yeah.
I felt so bad.
Kind of didn't want to talk too much
Manuel.
about all of that part right there because
I felt so bad for his character.
It's funny, man. Talking about the movie and some of the parts in it. I feel like I enjoyed a lot of it.
Yes.
But overall I just didn't. I don't know. It was too long for me.
All right, let's go to our rankings. Let's move on.
You mean go to the you go first, man. I'm kind of I already know what I'm
let me find mine here in my list of ratings. I went with
hovering, so I'm ready. I'm curious.
Well, I don't see the one I need.
Come on, you can do it. It's in there. They're in order of we have them in our library here.
One of mine is not here.
Are you serious?
So I'll just go with this one. This will be fine. I can go with this.
Oh, they're all there, I think. Were you looking for the
1.5?
Oh, no, it's in there. You meant this one?
Where's it at?
It's about it's a fifth one down of the actual rating ones.
Not on my side. I don't see it.
Really? Technical difficult. I don't have the technical.
We'll discuss later. Anyway,
Okay.
I give it 1. I would have given it 1.5. We've got to get to movies we don't like because there's not much to talk about. I enjoyed this movie. I unexpectedly enjoyed this movie. I give it 1 because it's long.
Yeah.
And as you well know, Gary, from my past, I don't do well with films over an hour and a half. 90 minutes, you start to lose me.
Yeah.
But I was invested. I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed where it was going. So I can't. That's not a flop to me. It's decent. Watch it.
Yeah.
Mark off some time.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad movie. It's not great, but yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
So
we're pretty close. I went with this one. I probably would have changed that a little bit more as we start talking about it, but that's what I already kind of had locked in for my number. I gave it 2 TPs.
Yeah.
Not a terrible movie though. There's a lot of really good scenes and good moments in it. And I think overall the theme and what I feel like he was going for in the movie was cool. I just kind of wish it was shorter. That's my biggest. I don't know how you make, like you said, I don't know how you make it shorter. I just wish it was.
I mean, I guess
I think if it was a little tighter, I would have enjoyed it.
Shave a minute here and shave 3 minutes there, but yeah, that's all I got, man. I mean, it's again, the problem is if anyone's still watching and you're going, man, you guys, this movie is just called flip flops. We don't know going in.
Yeah,
we have no these movies. If you look at the media, this film is considered a flop.
Yeah,
it's not doing well, but for our untrained opinion, it's not bad. I was entertained. That's it. So whatever else you got, Gary, I got nothing else. Watch it.
That's all I have. I think that's it. Let's wrap it up.
Bye.
Thanks everybody for joining us for another episode. Watch us next time. We'll tackle another possibly flop, possibly not. Who knows? And Andy's gonna dance it out. Go, man. Go. Take it. Peace. See you guys.